The parable of the talents tells the story of a master entrusting his wealth to his servants before going on a journey. He gives each servant a different amount of talents, which were a large sum of money in that era. Upon his return, the master assesses how each servant used the talents entrusted to them. First servant, 5 talents. The first servant seized his opportunity, worked with diligence, and doubled his master's trust. His faithfulness proved that when we use God's gifts for his glory, they multiply, and he was welcomed into the joy of his master. Second servant, 2 talents. The second servant, though entrusted with less, did not see his portion as small. He too labored faithfully and brought increase. His story shows that God's commendation is not about how much we start with, but how true we are in service. Third servant, 1 talent. The third servant, paralyzed by fear and unwilling to act, buried his gift and wasted his chance. Instead of hearing words of joy, he faced rebuke and loss, reminding us that neglecting God's trust leads to judgment and separation.
So the first thing we have to learn is exactly what this line is. This line represents the life cycle of a company. This is what happens from birth till death till rebirth again. This line can last for seconds, it can last for days, it can last for weeks, months, years, or even decades, sometimes generations when you start to think like big oil companies. So let's do a quick zoom in here and we'll have a look at what this is. Now, I'm going to use Tesla because I've seen the life cycle of Tesla since 2011 when they first came out with their first cars. So let's just say you came in when the stock went public. So you came in here when you heard hear somebody about Tesla, doing an IPO. The year is about 2013 and you are starting to see Tesla Model S's on the field, on the roads. And you decide to say if you had some disposable income available, you are going to buy Tesla stock in 2015 let's just say it was selling for $20 a share. Now, there's enthusiasm about it now. We're at this next level because at the enthusiasm level, you've made some money, you've told some other people, and they're beginning to put their money in the stock. So the stock is still getting higher because more and more people are starting to see what Tesla is. Now, at this exhilaration phase is where most people put money in. Now your common taxi driver, your common people start to hear about this big money-making stock. And right now, it's at the top of its popularity. You don't know when that's going to be. You just have to guess it because you have to know your due diligence. We'll talk. Anyway, time goes on. We entered the stock at in 2013 at $20. It's now 2019, and Elon Musk can do no wrong in the eyes of the American at this point. You hear about Neuralink, you hear about SpaceX, you hear because of SpaceX that the United States of America has just made its own Space Force. So all these people that got in at that exhilaration phase, they're all like, whoa, it's still going to be going to the moon. It's still going to be going to the moon. I got to put more money into it. It's 2019. Stocks have been pretty much going up since 2008. I'm just going to go ahead and put more money into it. That's what the masses are saying. But you, since you do your due diligence, you watch the news. It's late 2019, and you notice that China has a plague that's happening. And China's starting to shut down. Hasn't hit us yet, but China's starting to shut down. So you decide to be smart and sell some of your stocks and put those stocks in a high yield savings account, just so you can have a little money on the side just in case anything happens, because you're that type of paranoid person. Meanwhile, if you play the stock market safely, you're deciding to, like I said, park some money away into a high yield savings account so it'll be safe. But the extremely rich and experienced investors are doing something called short. And that's basically when you bet against a stock that's doing good. So a person that was shorting, they would see that Tesla stock and say, I'll bet that stock is going to go down 30% in the next 2 years, and I'm going to put a couple $1 million on it. Now, if they are right in that, they'll find hedge bankers that will make that bet against them, against Tesla. And if they are right, that's how they get a huge payout on that. While everybody else loses their money, they make the money that you put back around here somewhere. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that, because that gets, you can do your own research on shorting the market. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're looking at my video, you ain't ready for that. Now, back on with this line. Now, this is called a bear market right here. By the way, when line is green, it's a bull market. So when people say bullish, that's what they mean. And when a line is red, that means a bear market. That means the market's going down. So that's what that means. So the problem is that, while your money has been parked away, technically not losing money, but technically not really making money like it was in the stock market, everybody starts pulling their money out around this area, the panic area. And everybody's pulling their money out, and the stock is tanking and tanking and tanking and tanking and tanking. And eventually the market will hit a bottom. But then what happens here is it's 2022 now. That bear market lasted for about 2 years. And now that stock is at the bottom, probably closer to what it's really worth. But it's 2022 again, and space is all the craze again. Celebrities are going on Blue Origin and going up into lower Earth orbit. Elon's Falcon 9 is docking with the Russian space station. Elon is also making a reusable rocket. So the hype begins to happen again. And what ends up happening is more people start putting the money back into the stock, and that's how the stock rebounds. Again, this could last a very long time. Now, I'm going to tell you what I would do in this situation. A normal person would do this. They would buy at the height, like I was just saying, and sell when they've already lost their money because they don't want to lose any more money. And then they wait until the next peak again to put more money in. And you basically just repeat that until you're broke. If I were you, instead of doing that, I would dollar cost average. I would come up with a fixed amount of money that I put into that specific stock every month, no matter what it does. So it can go up, it can go down. It doesn't matter to me, because I already understand that individual stock, and I've already done the due diligence on that stock, and I believe in it. So if I were in that Tesla stock, I would be putting $100 a month in ever since 2013, when when Tesla went public. I would keep putting that money in while Tesla's going up, and during COVID, while Tesla started going down, I would still keep putting the money in. Once the rebound happened, my money would 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x, because I've been still putting money in the stock, but my shares are amplified more because there's more money in the stock, so my shares will be worth more. You follow? So this graph right here is a really good example of dollar cost averaging. So I'm going to go through it as briefly as I can. So we have Nick and Carson here. Nick invested $2,000 straight up in January and didn't invest anything for the subsequent 3 months. Versus Carson, she put in $500 every month. And they both have $2,000, of course, at the end of April invested into the market. Now, the market is doing its own work. So we move on to the price per share, where Nick only bought that $2,000 and got $40 per share. Versus Carson, she kept putting $500 in. And in January, that share price was $40, and then it was $42, and then it was $38, and then it was $35. So the share at this point, or the stock at this point, is actually losing money over time. I just wanted to point that out real quick. So at the end of, of course, Nick purchased his 50 shares at the beginning and he didn't invest anything else. So he still only has those 50 shares. But Carson, since she was purchasing at $500, remember, over the course of those months, and as you can see, the price was falling at some of those months. So in February, the cost of the price per share was $42, and she only got 11.9. But over time, that same $500 that she was doing flat, the share ended up, or rather the price per share ended up losing a little bit of money. So her purchasing power was greater in those last 2 months of March and April. So as you can see, at the end of everything, the totals, they both invested that same $2,000, except again, Carson's was just over the 4 months. And the price per share was doing some work. So as you can see here, the price per share lost money. So again, at the end of that 4-month cycle where this stock did lose some money, Nick still only has his 50 shares that he purchased in January. But interestingly enough, now Carson has 51.7 shares that she purchased because that price per share was going down and fluctuating. So her buying power got stronger. So now when that stock goes back up, which we all hope it will, she will make exponentially more money because she dollar cost averaged when the stock made less money, and she's still putting more money in when the stock is making more money. So in the end, she's going to win. That's why they say time in the market is better than timing the market. So just treat it like a bill. This is what you do. And I mean this. You do this with one stock. Treat it like a bill. 50 bucks in, 50 bucks in, every paycheck, 50 bucks in. It does not matter what your financial situation is. You're not going to go, I can use my money I invested to, fix this car problem. Don't do that. I've done that. The taxes are huge. Don't make that mistake. So 50 bucks in, find a number that you can put into your stocks that you're going to be okay with putting into your stocks, whether you're employed, whether you're in an emergency situation, whether or not you have a kid, whether or not you get unemployed, whether or not anything, you are to put that 50 bucks into that stock for decades. Doesn't matter. This isn't get rich quick. I'm not teaching you how to day trade. That's a whole different level. I'm teaching you about stocks, and this is how you do it. This is how you stop yourself from unloading trucks at Walmart at 73 years old. Dollar cost average into a stock. And when it's time for you to need that money, now it's there. Just wait for a good amount of time. So that's me. I've been Patrick Houston from Houston's Hustle Hobbies. And this has been my short review of how to get you into stocks. Now, again, this is a patient man's game. Do not be what the elites call capital donors. Don't buy high and sell low. Pick one stock and stick with it for your entire working life. Now, there are other things that I could have gotten into, such as index funds, ETFs, REITs, different things like that. But this is a big subject, and this video is already going to be over 15 minutes. So I'll leave that to you. If you're truly interested in it, do your work. Do your work. That's why they call it doing your due diligence. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. I've been Patrick Houston from Houston's Hustle Hobbies, where we always live high, live mighty, and we live righteously. Take it easy.